My freedom of speech, my freedom of speech, my freedom of speech, my freedom of speech.
Hey everybody, it's Bob. How you doing? I was watching a video my YouTube buddy Kizzume Fowler made, and he was talking about homeless people and how they're actually treated, at least in his neck of the woods. I guess he lives in Tacoma or the Tacoma area. Anyway, that was my Lies t-shirt. The sex, the drugs, the violence, the shocking truth. Guns N' Roses Lies. Bought it at the show a few weeks ago, last month, whatever. But anyway, Kizzume was talking about how they treat them, and the homeless are swept under the rug, and, you know, the really disenfranchised people in our country who are at the bottom rung. He said a lot of real things and had a lot of good things to say about it, but I think some of the stuff he left out is part of the homeless problem is caused because a lot of the homeless people have mental health issues, and some of them are severe, and yeah, they're never going to be able to function as a society. Another part of the problem with the homeless population exploding is the jail systems. People get disenfranchised. You can't throw drug addicts and people who have mental health issues in jail and expect them to get any real help for their problems. It's just not going to happen. Police shouldn't have to be counselors. Wardens shouldn't have to be psychiatrists. Jails are not mental facilities. Jails are not rehab facilities. If we started taking some more of our money and putting it into those facilities, then a lot of your homeless problem is going to actually help be resolved. Yes, there are still going to be homeless people, you know, and I really care. We had a big uproar this last winter with the homeless. I live in the Daytona Beach area, and this winter, even though it doesn't get really, really cold, it got cold enough. It was, you know, in the 30s overnight. And for people who don't have any place to live, yeah, 30s isn't so bad. But when you're fucking living in a beach town where you probably don't even have winter clothes, because a lot of people come down to Florida that's very transient, because yeah, most of the year you can live outside. So a lot of people come down here, and Daytona Beach, they're following spring break, they're following bike week, they're following NASCAR, you know, so you can blend a lot too, you know. And no, they don't have any real facilities. And so in Daytona Beach this winter, they started camping out in front of one of the city offices. The biggest thing about it is you got to go there to get your tags and your titles and stuff for the Department of Motor Vehicles. So it really put a damper in these people's existence when you got all these homeless people, you know, camping out there. I got a little video that I'll show you from our news down here, and then and so you can see what I'm talking about.
Well, Michelle, the Salvation Army will be busing many of the people you see sleeping here outside today to a temporary shelter that they are opening. And this comes after this issue has become all the more tense because Volusia County property appraiser Morgan Gilreath Jr. says a homeless person out here attacked one of his employees when she was trying to get into the building, and that is why he closed the office until further notice. And the county manager followed by temporarily shutting down the entire building here. Now, the property appraiser says employees should not be afraid to come to work, but a homeless person told our crew that there are always bad apples in a group, and there are good people here too. An advocate for the homeless tells us that there is a very specific reason why you see so many homeless people outside the government building, and he says that's because the city of Daytona Beach closed popular living spots for the homeless like Manatee Island.
Because they painted us into a corner. It's like squeezing a balloon. If you squeeze one side, it's going to come out the other. So basically, this was like our last stand.
And the Salvation Army's plan is to offer this shelter for 90 days in its gym, and it's going to have 46 new beds for the homeless. It says the city asked for help with the problem a couple weeks ago, and the shelter will open every day at 5 p.m., offering free dinner, breakfast, and a place to sleep. Other people have been placed in other temporary housing, apartments or motels, including people in wheelchairs, because this gym will not be able to accommodate people with special needs. Now, the Salvation Army says that this is not just emergency shelter. They plan to get people into programs for transitional and permanent housing, and efforts, of course, continue for a proposed permanent shelter dubbed Volusia Safe Harbor. We will be watching today as the buses, the Salvation Army's buses, trucks, and vans come to pick up some of these people here, and that is going to happen late this afternoon. Back to you guys.
So basically, that video, they promised all these homeless people that they were going to do something for them. Yeah, they put them up in hotels for a while. Yeah, they opened up the Salvation Army a little bit more. But you know what? There's no plans to make housing for them. I just found out from one of the guys running for mayor of Daytona Beach that they basically found an empty lot that's so far off the beaten path that they're going to let them make a shanty town in. They put a couple porta potties up in there. That's what they call a solution. Yeah, make your tent city here. Yeah, real nice, Daytona. We do have to do something about the homeless people, especially since, like I said, a lot of them, a vast majority, have real mental disorders. Not just I get depressed, not even, you're a little bipolar. I mean, they're schizophrenic and some of them are psychotic, and just because you're psychotic doesn't mean you're dangerous. Some of these people, their bipolar is off the wall. They're up or they're down dirt below the ground, or they're so high up that there's no touching them. They don't have no reason. I mean, so yeah, think about that next time you see the homeless people. And I'm glad he touched on the vets in his video too. You know what? A lot of those vets, they got really bad PTSD. And yeah, the homeless people will tend to help each other out. They'll make shanty towns and they'll police themselves. Believe it or not. Yeah, you give them project housing, they're not going to, respect it as much maybe. But if you give them something decent to be proud of that they can work on, then people will be proud of where they live and they'll keep it nice. And then another thing, which you're going to say you don't really fucking care about, and I don't blame you if you don't, but down in the Miami, Broward-Dade County area, there are people literally living underneath a freeway passageway. They're living under a bridge because they're all sexual offenders. And some of them were, sexual predators, really bad ones. Other ones, pedophiles, really, really bad. But with all the laws of where these guys can live within a church, a school, a playground where kids, there's no place for them to live. So now they live under this bridge. And Florida even issues them government driver's licenses that have under that bridge. I don't know what the address is, but basically under the bridge is their address. And that's where they live, because once you're on that list, there's no getting off. And I know you might not care about those people, but they're still Americans. They went to jail. They're out of jail. They're out of prison now. I mean, they got to live somewhere, right? Don't make people live under a fucking bridge. Anyway, I'm sure we can do better than under bridges and in empty lots that are off in commercial areas with a couple of porta potties. I agree with you, kids. We need to do a better job. All right, thanks for listening. Bye.
What are you doing here? I'm roving. Roving, are you? I'm looking for a hot Carl. $5 to...
You take all of it? All right.